Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing some Patreon requests today, and as always, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon in the link in the description below, where if you hit the 4th tier, you can not only get access to the videos, access to the exclusive videos over there on Patreon, but you could also send me requests for videos for me to do here on YouTube. Now, this is going to be interesting because this comes from Jack Oliver, and Jack Oliver asked me to do a interesting Spider-Man Ladybug crossover because it's a little out there. It's a fascinating one because what we're going to be doing is Superior Spider-Man with Ladybug. That's the story. But it's going to be a lot different. This is going to be a Superior Ladybug? We'll just have to see. So the story begins with Otto Octavius waking up one morning, and he's getting ready for his... Because at this point, if you're wondering where we are in continuity, this is a point in the Christos Gage Superior Spider-Man 12. It was a 12-issue run, which I think was super underrated. But he's posing as a college professor, and essentially, what he is in this run was pretending to be a college professor while still in a clone body of Peter Parker. So he is getting ready for a class, and he's just like, ugh, I have to teach the unwashed masses and still be, Spider-Man, and still be a Spider-Man on the West Coast. But here's the thing. When he switches on the light in the bathroom, he's not in the body of Peter Parker. He's in the body of Marinette, and his reaction is, God damn it. Because he's like body switching. Of course. So I don't know who this is. I don't know what's going on. But I know if I know my body, because he's already like if I know my body switching and my body snatching, then I already know what's happening in my body right now. So sure enough, meanwhile, all the way in America, Marinette is already freaking out. She's in Otto's Peter clone body. And she's already freaking out about what's going on. She has no Tiki. She has no friends in America. She is freaking the fuck out. So, yeah, she's freaking out. But Otto is taking this in stride. He checks Marinette's, ID. He's like, okay, my name's Marinette Dupin Chang. Okay. He's taking it all in stride because this is nothing new. So he's more or less just going through the motions. And he's basically just going through the motions like, okay, my name's Marinette Dupin Chang. I am a student at Francois DuPont. I am a fashion designer, apparently. All right. I've worked with worse. And that's when Tiki flies up to him and goes, hello. He's like, oh, that's a curveball. So, yeah, and Tiki already's like, you're not Marinette, are you? And he's like, of course it's me, Bug. And she's like, okay, who are you? And he's like, alright, my name is Otto Octavius. I've been put in Marinette's body. Tell me who you are, insect. And she's like, I'm not an insect, I'm a Kwame, and you're Ladybug. And he's like, ah. So I'm Ladybug. Wonderful. So, at this point, he's already, Otto hears, Marinette, time to go to school, and he's like, listen, insect, you are going to help me get through this day, and help me find a way to switch my body back into Marinette's body, which is all the way in America, so you are going to help me find a way to get to my body, and in turn, we will switch each other's bodies back. But at the same time, Otto's thinking, what happened and what caused me to switch places of all people with this person in particular? What caused it? So meanwhile, back in LA, Marinette's not doing good. She's freaking out. She's having a rough time, and she's going by this guy named Elliot, like he went by the code name Elliot. So he's like, Elliot. They're all like, Elliot, what's going on? And she's like, oh, nothing. I'm just having a day. It's fine. You're supposed to be giving a seminar today, aren't you? Oh, no. I feel sick. It's fine. Oh God. And she also finds like the Spider-Man costume. Is like, oh my God, I'm Spider-Man. But this is like, but that she also looks on the news and sees like Spider-Man. Is like, so that's Spider-Man. Am I another Spider-Man? Am I like a clone of Spider-Man? Did I switch bodies with like a clone of Spider-Man? And by this point, one of because Otto had villains working for him, underlings, and they're like, Otto, what's going on? You're supposed to check in with us. Like, what's the deal? And they're like, Otto Octavius. I'm in Otto Octavius's body. This is what he looks like. Oh my God. She's like has all these different questions, and she's just freaking the fuck out. And the villains are like, oh, Jesus, what is going on? Meanwhile, back in Paris, Otto in Marinette's body is just working with Tiki, and he's just like, all right, Bug, you've got to help me, walk me through this. So he's pretending to be like nice to Alia. He's doing all this, and then when he runs into Chloe, he gets mocked, and he's like, no, Otto, don't do it. It's not worth it. And by this point, when she gets told, when Chloe says, like, Chloe does something when they're in a science class, and she's and Marinette, Otto as Marinette goes, you idiot, you dolt, you fool, you could have mixed those compounds and killed us all, you blind idiot, you blind blonde idiot. Like, he just goes into this tirade, and everyone looks at him and is like, I gotta go. So he's like, can I be excused? I have a stomach virus or something. So he bounces and he's like, well, how do I become Ladybug? If I'm Ladybug, how am I supposed to become Ladybug? And Tiki goes, you're supposed to say, Tiki, spots on. And he's like, there is no way in hell I'm doing that. He's like, that's the only way. Lords of Science, help me. Tiki, spots on. And he becomes Ladybug, and he's like, I hate, like, he has to quantify it as magic, as a science, because Otto firmly disbelieves in magic. Even though he's seen it, like, he's just quantifies it as, like, science we don't understand. And Otto, running around in Marinette's, like, now as Ladybug, he's just swinging through Paris. He's like, alright, I need to figure out what caused this to switch over with my body. And sure enough, what happened was that there was an Akuma that was unleashed. Apparently, someone got akumatized and became a villain named Switcheroo. And Switcheroo more or less took out Marinette's... basically what happened was, in the dead of night, because she wasn't Ladybug, Switcheroo attacked Marinette out of random and took her body out of her like mind out of her body and switched it with Octavius. Just out of random, like, you'll be this person, and it was like, that's it. It was a random ass thing. There was no grand plan. I'm going to beat you on principle alone. So, as Marinette, like, as Ladybug, Otto just unleashes, because it's not like he quantified, like, he already is like figuring out that this is not too different from what he does as Spider-Man, as his version of Spider-Man. So he's like jumping around doing all this and learning the stuff Peter taught him, because there was a moment where they were trying to be allies, and he is just wailing on Switcheroo. He is just wailing on him. He's like, it's like, this would work a lot better if I had the proportionate strength of a spider, but I will deal with it. Cat Noir shows up and is like, hey, my lady, you've done well, and, you're kind of being a little brutal, though. And he's like, idiot, get out of my way. So he's like, what are you? You're not the real Ladybug. He's like, I am, and I'm not. I am not going to dance around this. My name is, he's like, he's about to say Otto. He's like, wait, they all know Otto Octavius is a villain. I will have to go by my code name. I am Elliot. I'm a professor in LA, and my body was pulled into Ladybug's body. Yeah, and I need your help. So Cat Noir now helps, but they don't know how to get to America. Like, they don't know how to get to America and back. Meanwhile, Marinette is still freaking out in Otto's clone body, and he eventually has to, like, put on the Spider-Man costume, and she's like, evil villain underlings that I work for, this is so weird, take me to Paris. So they go to Paris, and yeah, they take her to Paris, and that's when when Otto and Marinette meet, and they both go in unison, get out of my body. But however, during the fight with Switcheroo got away, and yeah, it's a game. It's a gambit by Hawkmoth, who's like, I'm gonna get the miraculous this time. But the thing is that Otto is like, you idiot, you depended on some villain rather than do it yourself, fool. Allow me to give you a proper lesson on villainy. Do it yourself. And proceeds to just crack Hawkmoth in the face. Hawkmoth gets away, but Switcheroo doesn't. They manage to beat him, Miraculous Ladybug, and their bodies are switched back. And she's like, that was weird. Are you Spider-Man or a Spider-Man? He goes, I am the superior Spider-Man, child. Good day. And whips away, and he's as he's swinging away, he's going, I do hope Peter has I wonder if I can ask Peter for a ride back to the States. Because he was so obsessed with the dramatic exit, he was like, oh shit, I forgot how to get home. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much the Superior Spider-Man Ladybug crossover. I'd like to thank Jack Oliver for this video. This was pretty fun to do, and as always, and like I said, if you would like to have a request done just head on over to Patreon in the link below and hit the 4th tier. Other than that, I am Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.